if you want to do something, you can do it. It's just going to take a lot of work and a lot of behind the scenes and ramp technicians and getting the bike set up right, because the backflip was a cool thing when it came about, 20 plus years ago. And then the double backflip popped up and I learned how to do that, which I never thought I would be able to do it. But then I figured out how to do that. And when I started doing the double backflip, I thought that the triple backflip was possible. If you're willing to risk everything, you should be able to do a good job in this sport. But if you're not willing to risk it, then you're not going to make it far. I almost didn't make it once, I had a big crash in Madrid, Spain in 2009. That was at Red Bull X Fighters.
You were in coma for a few days, right?
Broke a lot of bones, my hip, my cheek, crushed my voice, my throat, shattered my shoulder blade. I was there with my wife, which was lucky, and my mechanic. My mum, my dad, my brother, my manager got on a flight and flew over there because they weren't sure if I was going to survive. Luckily enough, I did, and apparently the first thing I said when I woke up was like, when can I ride again? After that big crash I had in Madrid, the year after I started on the double backflip again, I was petrified, so scared. Wouldn't eat, cold sweats, and then...
How do you know where the limit is?
Well, that's a good question because there's...
All right, welcome back to the Out of Interest podcast. Those that are returning, welcome back. It means a lot for you guys to tune back in every week. Do really appreciate it. And those new watchers, listeners, all that, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching it on YouTube, do give us a like and subscribe. Maybe wait till the end of the video to see if you liked it. Then maybe give us a like. But if you're listening on Spotify and Apple and Google, do give us a review. It means the world to us. Today's guest, it's a very interesting one because we've never had anything like it on the podcast. And he's an extreme, what do we call it? Extreme sportsman, right? He does all sorts of stunts on a bike. He was part of the Nitro Circus and the Krusty Demons. He's an X Games gold medalist. I actually asked him what X Games was. He gave a nice description on it. So maybe we could talk a bit about that as well. And he's one of the biggest freestylers on a bike in the country. Cam Sinclair, welcome to the Out of Interest podcast.
Thanks, guys. Stoked to be here.
I'm going to ask a question that's like a bit... I want to understand it. I really want to pick your brain with it, right?
Yep.
What you do is you do stunts and somersaults, do all sorts of things on a bike. At what point in your life were you like, that's what I want to do? What triggers that? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
it's sort of hard
how do you get into that? How do you be like, you know what, I want to risk my life for a living and just do that? How did that come about?
From the start, I never thought about that. I never thought about risking my life and doing stuff that was so dangerous. I started off racing dirt bikes. My grandparent, my pa used to ride, my dad rode, my brother rode. So it was a family thing. So I just grew up racing and riding dirt bikes. And so racing was a pretty popular thing for us, And all the friendship I had were all about racing and riding motorcycles, so it seemed pretty normal for me. But then the freestyle and the tricks sort of I'm not sure, that just sort of took my eye when I seen the guys in America doing stunts, the Krusty Demon movies.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a fun way to ride my bike. And then, I went from racing to doing stunts, and then next minute I'm doing backflips and then making a living out of it and traveling the world. So, like I said, I never set a goal when I was young, but then as I got older, I could I could see the light and push myself.
Would you consider yourself like an adrenaline junkie?
Right now, no. 10 years ago, yeah, for sure.
Fair enough.
20 years ago, definitely. I think between my 20s to my early 30s, 100%. Yeah. I still got a little bit there, but I know, there's more to life than an adrenaline junkie, so, which I've realised now in my 40s.
Yeah.
But I definitely was there.
From the outside looking in, I'm sure Ali and all people who see what people like yourself can do, there's a whole heap of admiration for man, because I could never do that. The fear of it would spook the hell out of you. You know what, I could never do that. Yeah. How do you know where the limit is? To say, okay, well, I got to build up, and I got to do this part of a stunt, and then add to it.
Yeah, correct.
One backflip becomes two backflips. How do you know how far you can push yourself and your bike and everything else? How far can you go?
Well, that's a good question, because there's no ending. I don't think. If you want to do something, you can do it. It's just going to take a lot of work and a lot of behind the scenes and ramp technicians and getting the bike set up right. Because. The backflip was a cool thing when it came about, 20 plus years ago, and then the double backflip popped up, and I learned how to do that, which I never thought I would be able to do it, in my younger life. But then I figured out how to do that, and when I started doing the double backflip, I thought that the triple backflip was possible. Oof. And then a lot of people didn't believe me, but I sort of had this theory in my head that it's possible. It's just all about getting the right degrees of the right ramp, the right steepness, the right
Hang
gearing.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point in my career where I was just, I got married, had some kids, and I had to wind down a bit. So I passed the ideas on to some friends, and they figured it out, and then they made it look quite easy in a way. Like there's about there's three Aussies that have landed a triple backflip before. And I know one of them, a close friend of mine, he was even thinking about doing the quadruple backflip. So at the end of the day, anything is possible. It's just that you just got to find the safest and easiest way around it.
Did you start your stunts with like a BMX or something? Did you just straight to motorbikes?
No, I've been riding BMX, from when I was 5 years old, as well as motorcycles. But motorcycles was all about racing and staying low and staying fast. Where BMXs, I used to love jumping BMXs and doing stuff, and I learned how to do a backflip into BMX into water.
Into water?
Yeah.
Yeesh.
When I was younger, then that led to motorbikes, and yeah.
Did you get the blessing from your parents before you started?
Oh no, I never told them. It was always a secret. My dad was so dedicated to me and my racing career, which I had. I raced bikes when I was 5 to when I was about 20, and my parents put so much effort and time and money into that, and so I had to do it their way. And then when I was old enough to do it my way, I sort of figured out the freestyle path and went down that path.
So how did they react when they found out?
They were a bit upset about it, but at the same time, I was in the early 20s and I could sort of make my own mind up at that stage in life. So, and I sort of showed some hope, and I had a bit of talent when it come to doing freestyle, and the sponsors were happy with me doing freestyle. I was getting more recognition and getting more shows and more in the spotlight. My parents seen that, and then they sort of backed me and went down the freestyle motocross path rather than the racing side of it.
You tend to find a lot of athletes like yourself who go into, let's call them more sort of fringe sports. They don't go into AFL and basketball, NRL, all that type of stuff. They tend to have to maintain a life of sport plus something else to sort of support themselves financially and all that type of stuff, because day one doesn't pay massively at the start. Was that always your strategy as well, to say, well, I'm going to be sort of 1 foot in this camp and 1 foot in that camp and see which one works out better for me? Or was that like, plan B, I'm going to go, full on into this, and I'm going to make sure this damn thing works? Yeah,
that was the plan. I had one plan only,
Okay.
And that was just to grow up riding motorcycles. I had a lot of heroes and stuff like that, and I used to want to be them, and they were making good money and had big sponsorship backing, and I just wanted to be like them. So my goal was and I had the talent behind me. I had the support behind me by my parents to turn pro down the track. So I just, my parents dedicated their life to my career when I was younger, and then that sort of pushed me in that direction. Started making a little bit of money in racing, but there wasn't a big, freestyle's the new big thing with the Crusty Demons, and they were touring the world and stuff, and I was just like, that's where I want to be. So I learned how to do the backflip, and then got picked up on the Crusty Tour. This was back in 2004. And then, it's been a pretty cool ride ever since.
Share that feeling. That's the big league, the Crusty Demons.
Yeah.
Even people who don't follow these things, you hear the name, you know what, they're a cool bunch of guys.
That was cool. Feel? So the backflip was just very new. I was, I think I was 20, around 2021, around there. And there was not many Australians doing it. And the Crusty Demon Tour was coming to Australia, and they had all the American guys, and there's only like 1 or 2 Americans that could do the backflip, so they wanted some local guys. As soon as we found out that, I was just like, let's go. That's when I went to BMX in the water, and then just set up a ramp and some hay bales to a big pile of dirt, and went for it. It took a while, a few crashes, and broke a few bikes, but once we figured it out, that was cool. It's quite easy, actually.
I don't understand that. Like, how do you practice for a backflip? Like, the first time you do it, you know that there's a possibility of just cracking a spine or something. I'll give you a quick story time with me, right? There was only once in my life that I tried to do a backflip. It was on a trampoline, not even on a bike. It was just amateur stuff. I'm like, I'm getting my bounce support. I'm like, I got this. I'm gonna pull it off. I've only shared this story with a couple of people, and I tried to do. Mind you, I was at school camp, right? And I tried to do a backflip on the trampoline, and I landed on my neck. There was a massive crack on my neck, and I couldn't speak for like 3 days.
not
And
good.
I shared this story with my chiropractor. He's like, "You're lucky
Mm,
that you can still walk and talk and like you're not
exactly.
crippled, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah, right? And I've never, ever, ever tried it ever again, right? So what was going through your mind when you're like, I want to practice this knowing that it could end up really bad? So how does the practicing go to do a backflip on a bike, let alone
Yeah. So
just
like
standing up with
back to where I
trampoline?
said about the BMX in the water.
Yeah.
Like we were
That's
young.
actually a good
I was
point,
like,
yeah.
I wasn't young. I was like 18, 17, 18 then, and just did it in the water. And it's just, you know, you just got to commit. Worst case, you'll land on your head in the water. You know, you might get a slap in the face, whatever. But so once we figured it out in the water, we're like, cool. Now we know it's possible on a dirt bike. But that's where it wasn't safe. You know, we had a ramp set up, and we had to get hay bales, like, you know, with that cows eat, just to make
Yeah.
it the dirt nice and soft, just in case we did land on our head.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have saved us. It would have made it a bit softer. But no, it was very, very scary. But we were young, you know, early 20s. And at that stage of life, one of my closest friends, he was a hero of mine. He passed away. He crashed in a racing, John O'Porter, and he was like one of the first Australians to do the backflip. So after his passing, we had this motivation behind us, and we're like, we weren't scared to. And this is bad saying, but we weren't scared to die trying. We wanted to be the best, and to be the best of that sport, you got to risk everything. So we had no fear at all back in those days, and that's what got us over the line. Just hold on, commit, and if you don't make it, worst case, you're not gonna live, you know. But best case, you're gonna land and
Yeah.
have a fun time, and the adrenaline rush is crazy, and then you're gonna make a good career out of it. So you got that, you know, that line. You got a path. If you're willing to risk everything, you should be able to do a good job in this sport. But if you're not willing to risk it, then you're not going to make it far.
That's an interesting mindset because, you know, your friend passed away while racing.
Yeah.
And then, like, for a lot of people, that would be like deterrence. Like, you know what, I ain't doing it anymore.
That's why I stopped racing.
So you stopped racing after that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the after his passing, I decided not to race anymore. Freestyle seems a lot dangerous because you're going high and you're doing backflips, doing all these stunts. But to me, racing is also dangerous because you're lining up with 40 other people and you're going off the start into that first corner. It's like, you know, MotoGP or Formula One. You know, that first corner is always scary.
Yeah.
And I feel as if that was more scary because you got yourself plus 40 other people around you. You got to look out for. But when you're riding freestyle motocross, you're by yourself.
So he passed when first corner?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Because when you watch racing, any sort of racing, Formula One's a good point. Like, the fans always pray there's a crash in the first one.
That's right.
Right? But I guess when you're the person behind the driving seat or on the bike, like you could lose your life on it.
Exactly
And then
right.
you got the fans praying that there's a crash.
I know.
And then you guys are praying that everyone gets out safe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's a very interesting, it's a very interesting mindset.
yeah.
But you look at fans and they're so committed to supporting their particular team or driver or rider, whatever it is. And when you look at the respect that riders and drivers have for one another, you could be on a competing team, whatever it is, but you see on Formula One, both of us follow Formula One very closely. The moment there's a crash, the first question is that person okay?
Exactly
It could
right.
be their biggest enemy or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
that's
But,
right.
hey, is that person okay?
Exactly
because that
right.
human element kicks in and says, look, you know what, you have a lot of respect for the people who are
Oh, of
able
course.
to push themselves to that limit. Because you're like,
Exactly.
I know what I'm putting myself through, and you know, respect to you, kudos to you for being able to sort of come up to that same level.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's like we're all like a lot of 20 years ago when we were competing, we had that love-hate relationship with our competitors, but now there's so much love for our competitors. You know, that's very all about. You obviously want to win. You obviously want to do the best. But the last thing you want to see these days is people getting hurt.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's those people who push you to become better as well.
Exactly right.
The better overall you improve the craft, you improve the industry.
Yeah.
Speaking of the industry, obviously it's a very sort of unique space in the market that you participate, you practice in. Which country do you think has it? Like, I'm assuming the States, they do it probably the biggest and the best. But where does Australia, from your perspective, rank in these sorts of competition, these activities?
Honestly, with extreme sports, Australia is probably fan base wise, it's huge. You know, like Krusty Tour and the Nitro Circus Tour. It's mind blowing how much support we have here. And the you know, it was America. They were always the athletes were the guys you wanted to beat and the guys you looked up to. But the last 10 years, Australia have taken over, and we've got the best athletes in the world and best fan support fan base in the world. Like we did Nitro Circus once here at Rod Laver, and we sold out 4 nights. We did Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 sold out shows, which is pretty crazy for this guys like us just doing silly things on dirt bikes. People want to come watch us, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
It-
definitely
it-
Australia's
yeah.
doing is huge.
It does a lot to, I guess, encourage more people into the sport as well.
Yeah,
because
that's
you
right.
get people who turn up. There's more sponsorship, there's more visibility,
Yeah.
probably TV coverage or whatever it is. That brings money into the sport,
Yeah.
allows people to grow it. Because that's obviously a big consideration. People look at it and say, look, it looks fun. I reckon I could do it. I've got the talent for it. But can I really, earn a living out of it? Can I really sustain myself? If I want to put 20, 30 years of my life into this, to perfecting the craft, it's got to be financially viable.
That's right.
And that's where a lot of sports, you get sort of, rich kids who do it because mum and dad are footing the bill. But the everyday sort of middle class who are very, very talented, the
Yeah.
cost becomes prohibitive.
That's right. But we're getting there. Like Australia's being pretty good with backing, sponsorship, and stuff like that. And like I said, the fan base is huge. But it's pretty good. Like worldwide, it's pretty good. With the extreme sports fan base. Went to Mexico City, competed there once at the bullfighting ring. That was crazy.
Wow.
And Madrid X Fighters. Over Madrid was huge.
Yeah.
We've been to where else was it? Over in Russia, I'm bad with names, but there are a lot of cool locations, and the fan support has been amazing.
How was Russia?
Russia, where was that?
That'll
That
be
was
different.
Red Square, not Times Square. That's in New York.
The Red Square.
Is it Red Square in
Yeah, I
Russia?
think so, yeah.
Right in front of that big palace that were colourful.
yeah.
Yeah, so we
Moscow.
Moscow.
Moscow, Russia. Yeah,
Yeah.
Red Square. Yeah, we did a show like a Nitro Circus contest right there in front of the Red. Look it up. Honestly, do some research later and look up the
That's where
locations
the
we've
military
been.
parade's done. The
Yeah,
Red
yeah.
Square.
So that's where we performed right there. They filled it up with dirt
Badass.
and had jumps and everything. It's
Far
pretty
out.
cool. Very cool. I'll show you photos after, but yeah, very cool locations but it's pretty fun. But like I said, Australia, I feel as if is probably the biggest support and best athletes at the moment.
So where was the coolest location you performed the stunt?
Oh, we did like some cool ones in London once before, like at the old power station there. So the Red Bull X Fighters was known for their locations. Like we said, we went to Mexico City, and went to Buenos Aires, I think it was. Yeah, Buenos Aires, and then we went to Madrid, Spain. Like a lot of cool locations. But I feel as if my favourite one. See, we did a cool one in Sydney on Cockatoo Island.
Okay.
Where we had to get ferries out there. Like they had to put dirt on the ferries to take dirt out to the island to build But yeah, like I said, do some research and look at the locations. But the Red Square was pretty cool. We did a sold out show at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, really?
That was in Madison Square Garden. That's in New York, right? Yeah, and then there was MGM Grand, Las Vegas. Did one there. That was pretty cool. So we've done a lot of cool locations there.
Yeah.
So how is it traveling? Do you feel like a rock star? Like
Oh, they sort of
sounds pretty cool.
celebrities.
Yeah, so we did the US tour was like 20 shows in like 8 weeks, and we're on a tour bus. There's like 5 tour buses. There's BMXs on one, motors on another, the crew, the staff. We've got the chef, like a catering company. A tour. We just travel all over US, 20 shows over 8 weeks. It's hard on your body, and you miss your family and stuff, and you get beaten up and you crash, and you're battling injuries throughout the whole time. You're sleeping in single bed bunks,
Sheesh.
but it's fun.
It's not all glamorous.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. Like the rock star life isn't as glamorous as what you think, unless you're like, Taylor Swift or someone
Yeah.
like that. A different story. But when you're like a young bunch of kids touring, it's a great experience. Like I look back now, the great memories. Seen some cool places and done some cool things, but it was quite hard.
You mentioned about your body. How do you manage all that? That takes a huge toll. Even just preparing yourself for all this recovery
Yeah.
and all that type of stuff. Is there a particular type of physique that does better? Because you're suspended in the air for that long. You need all that hang time. What muscle groups need to work the
When I was
most?
younger, so racing was a completely different story. Racing, it's like an athlete, dietary, training. Freestyle motocross, you don't really have to be that fit, you only just turn the throttle and do a stunt.
Yeah.
So when I was in my 20s to 30s, fitness wasn't a thing for me really. I was just riding bikes every day. Bike fit was a cool thing. Didn't really focus on trying to be strong for injuries. I was just living my best life, jumping bikes, But now I'm in my 40s and I'm slowing down a little bit. I've had a lot of injuries throughout my career. So now it's just try to stay active and just move every day, you know. So the day I stop moving is the day that I'm going to lock up
Yeah.
for good say ever. So right now, just my advice is to, you know, people in my situation, we've had a rough life, if, you know, getting beaten up as football players and stuff, you're just going to have to stay active for the rest for as long as you can. Otherwise, once you stop, you stop.
Yeah, no, you see that a lot with like contact sports and whatnot, arthritis and all that
Yeah,
type of
yeah.
stuff. Really, the joint pains. Because the joints are the first to go. They're
Exactly
copper
right.
battering,
Yeah.
and it's all that rehab work because
Yeah.
your body doesn't properly rehabilitate, and you push it again and you push
that's
it again and
right.
you push it again, and as you get older, you can tell that.
Yeah.
It's creeps
That's
up.
right. Just got to be, yeah.
So
A
you're
lot of-
this handsome young fella touring the world, right? Feeling like a rock star. A whole bunch of guys, full of testosterone. And usually it's like when you're traveling with friends, you know what happens in travel stays and travels, right? Is there any like cool story that you could share with us on your tour
Oh,
that's
man.
very memorable that you can share?
You can black out the names.
I don't even know, man. Like I said, it's just a big. Honestly, it's a big blur for me. Touring and traveling, you know, a lot of, even over in Europe, you know, yeah, there's a lot of cool places. You know, we've done summer tours, winter tours. You know, Canada during winter, it's just the streets are icy and snowy, and but no, every tour has been so much fun. You know, except for the ones where you get injured. You know, I've broken a lot of bones. You know, I broke my femur in Las Vegas to get surgery over there. Broke my tib and fib in Fresno, which is a city just above LA. And then that was a compound fracture, and they couldn't do surgery on me. This is a cool story, actually. So I broke my tib and fib, and there was a compound, so the bone was out of the skin. And they rushed me to the hospital to do surgery. But that same night, there was a football match on, and there was two local teams went head-to-head, and there was apparently one team lost, and there was like a shootout, people getting shot. And so the hospital was on lockdown. So I was stuck in an ambulance out the front. They wouldn't let me in the hospital because there was like a shootout, people with gunshot wounds and stuff. So they sent me to another hospital in Los Angeles to get surgery, but because the bone had been out of the skin for so long, they didn't want to do surgery because it might be infected. So they stitched me back up, put me on a plane and fly me all the way home.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Because of this stupid shootout. They couldn't, yeah, so I was had to wait like a week, make sure there's no infection, and I ended up having surgery just here in the city. So
All that while your bone's sticking out of your skin.
they put the bone back in, they pulled it, and they stitched it up, and they put me on a plane and said, get home, make sure it's not infected. Within a week, you have surgery. So yeah.
Were you in pain the whole time?
Oh, it wasn't too bad. Like they put me in first class, and you know,
First class?
Yeah, and some painkillers, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't the best. It wasn't comfortable, but you know.
Just another day in America, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
I know.
another day in
Yeah,
America.
Crazy country.
a lot of parties, a lot of debate. We just live life and have a good time, and yeah, it's good fun.
Did not expect that story.
yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, no, a
You
lot of
said it so
injuries.
casually.
Yeah, it's just like another
tip
day.
and fib, the bone's sticking out of the skin, but happy days.
A lot of injuries. Like when my femur was in Vegas, I remember like walking up to the hospital and I had my surgery, and the next day I met the surgeon. He was pissed off at me because he was out partying. He reckons. I had to call me and do surgery. I'm like, you're partying and then you did surgery on me? Probably got the wrong rod in my femur.
And you kept going after all these injuries.
Yeah, it's like I said.
What's wrong with you, man? Where's
like-
the trauma?
I've had so much fun, and I've been riding bikes for my whole life, and I've had a lot of injuries, and I actually still enjoy it. Like I still ride dirt bikes, you know. I'm still riding shows, and not so much competing anymore, but it's just such a fun feeling. The adrenaline rush still. Had a lot of success.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries, like I almost didn't make it once, you know. I had a big crash in Madrid, Spain in 2009, and that was at Red Bull X Fighters.
Yeah.
And
You were in coma for like
yeah,
a few days,
yeah, in
right?
coma for 8 days.
8 days.
Broke a lot of bones, you know, my hip, my cheek, crushed my voice, my throat, shattered my shoulder blade. I was there with my wife, which was lucky, and my mechanic. But my mum, my dad, my brother, my manager got on a flight and flew over there because they weren't sure if I was going to survive. And luckily enough, I did. And apparently, the first thing I said when I woke up was like, "When can I ride again?"
So you don't remember anything? I'm assuming you don't remember anything about the accident.
No, not really. I guess I'm very lucky because of photos and videos and stuff. Sort of helps bring memory back. I went back there the year after to compete again, so I sort of helped with the memory. But no, like I said, I've born and bred dirt bikes, and the only thing that's going to stop me from riding is for me to not wake up.
So do you have like a ritual that you do before you start doing the stunts?
Not really, no.
No superstitions.
As long as my knee guards,
Superstitious.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is
none of
weird.
those?
Just like my knee guards, there's right leg and there's left leg. I make
Yeah.
sure they're on the right leg.
The right leg.
Yeah.
But
When I was
that's
younger, I used to one had L, one had R, and I'm like never knew what those letters meant.
Yeah.
Now I'm like right and left. So now I make sure the R goes on the right and left goes on. Yeah.
So you start with the right first?
Yeah. Whatever I pull out, whatever I want to pull out of the gear bag, I'm like left. Yeah.
That's so laid back. Just doesn't care. Just
Yeah.
goes doing stunts.
No. Can't get too worried.
Yeah, I always marvel at your ability to switch off that part of your mind that tells you to be afraid of something.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
That's
that's right.
because that's normal. That's natural human instinct. Fear kicks in, especially if you've been traumatized by something once and you've almost died doing that particular activity, and you're like, you know what, let me do it again. That's freakish.
It is one of the hardest things, though. Honestly, like after that big crash I had in Madrid, the year after I started on the double backflip again, I was petrified. You know, like shit, like so scared. Wouldn't eat, cold sweats, but no one knew that, you know. And I knew for a fact that I was there. They've promoted me to be there to do this trick. I can't back out. I'm getting paid good money for it. So worst case, if I crash, I'm still gonna get paid good money, you know. So I was just like, have a drink of water, put your helmet on, and once the helmet's on and then you've done it up, there's just like
There's no way back.
Yeah, and the fear just goes away, and you're mentally focused to do the stunt. You know, but the build up to it, the night before, the morning of, you're like, shit yourself. Yeah.
The Madrid crash. Your parents or your family didn't try to convince you to stop? Like, what
No,
happened
not
there?
really.
Like, as a parent, if my child, I'm like, man, if you do that again, I'm disowning you, man.
Yeah, I
God,
know.
what's wrong with you?
No, like I said, my parents have been supporting me my whole life, and they've been in hospital numerous times when I crashed. You know, when I was younger, they knew they knew what decision I make is going to be the right one. It's just a mistake you make. You look back on the footage and you've seen what went wrong, and I know what went wrong. You know, I could have easily, if I was going to do that again tomorrow, I'd change a lot of things. And that's the way. I was still new. The double backflip was still new then. So once I realised what was wrong, I fixed that, and then on you go.
Do you have kids?
Yeah, I've got 2 kids. Yeah,
Boy,
11-year-old
girls?
daughter and a 7-year-old son.
Are they into all this stuff?
Yeah. So my son's 7. He's got his motorbikes. He's got a few motorbikes. Got a track in the front yard for him. My daughter's into horses. She's got a horse arena in the back paddock. So
So
yeah,
you
no,
must
it's
live
good.
in like a massive farm or something.
No, it's only 5 acres. But yeah,
There's
it's enough room
a
for.
track there, there's a horse thing there.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, no, it's a 5 acres. So it's throughout my career, as I set a goal to build this house and build a nice place to raise the kids and give them what they want, basically, you know. And so, no, I just finished my daughter's horse arena off this week, so it's been pretty cool. I've been out the back watching her ride, and my son will be out the front riding, and she'll be out the back riding. It's got to go back and forth.
So the son's on the bike, your daughter's on the horse.
Yeah.
Which one's more safe? There's been some crazy
Motorbikes
accidents.
are way safer. I rode a
Really?
horse for the first time yesterday. I was like, whew. I was like, oh, hold on.
Because the accidents do happen on horses
Yeah.
too.
My
Well, I
daughter's
guess
had-
with a bike, you're in control, right?
You're exactly right.
You control the
You
throttle.
are in
everything
control.
else.
At the same time, like a few of my injuries was caused because of the bike malfunction. So it's the same as a horse, you know. Horse kicks, the bike also kicks
Yeah.
when you're unexpecting it. But yeah, I think that's a lesson I've learned over time. Just got to make sure the bike is always right.
How old's your daughter again, sorry?
She's 11.
11. She like riding a big ass horse, like a
Pretty
pony?
much, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Full size.
Yeah, full size there.
Full-size
Jumping
horse.
and stuff. She's dedicated. She loves it.
Yeah. Well, what's her ambition? What does she want
She would love to compete.
Equestrian.
Horse, yeah, equestrian, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's a big goal. It's a huge goal, but I like setting goals. And, you know, Olympics is in, 2030 in Brisbane, I think it is. It'd be cool to get her there.
All right.
But I don't know.
It's a nice specific goal.
Yeah,
That's
just always set goals. That's what I do
Yeah.
with myself.
That's awesome.
My son, I'm not sure. I don't want to push my son into dirt bikes. Like I said, I think they're safer than horses. But after the life I've lived and the stuff I put my wife and family through, I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't imagine being my dad and being my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel sorry for them. 'Cause now my son rides. I'm very very
I
nervous.
was literally going to ask
Yeah, I
you,
know.
like, what if your son gets injured, right? God
Yeah.
forbid. Like, would you want him to stop? Would you like? How would you be as a parent?
I guess that's another thing. It's just baby steps, I guess, it's like learning.
Yeah.
You sort of start here and you build up. You learn a lot on the way. So if as for my son, like, there's nothing worse than seeing my son, he crashes, he does fall off, he does cry. But he hasn't had any serious injuries, touch wood. But yeah, no, I'd still get scared. I'm very nervous when he does ride.
I could imagine.
So I couldn't imagine being my parents and what I put them through.
Has he started the stunts, or is it just
Nah, I don't want him to do
you
stunts.
don't
No.
want to do stunts?
Not until he's like, now I understand what my parents were like. They didn't want me to do stunts, but when I was 20, when I'm old enough to make my own decisions, and I'll teach him the right way and see where that leads him.
Are you sure he doesn't do it? Maybe like when you're not home, maybe he's
Actually,
doing it right
yeah,
now. Like, you wouldn't
I
know.
did lie. I was like, he did do a Superman once. It was pretty funny. Almost crashed. Just like his dad.
That's crazy. I want you to unpack a particular stunt for me. So, I've been to a number of Cirque du Soleil and Silvers and all that type of stuff, and they've got that motorbike thing where they've got that big cage. You know what I'm talking about?
Dome of Death or something.
That's nuts. Have you seen this?
No.
It's a cage where
They're in the cage
they send one bike in, then the second one, third one,
and they're going like hamster wheel sort of thing.
That's good. Exactly like a hamster.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
nuts. How do you put 3 or 4 guys in there with their bikes and at that pace and no one crashes?
I don't know. That thing's mind blowing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's usually like the peak amusement. They build up the entire
I know,
event
but
to that particular event.
I guess it's like, one bike goes in, and then that bike comes out, next bike goes in, and
There's a bit of a system,
it'd be like a bit of a learning curve.
but there are crashes. Like I've seen the crashes happen. Just
Exactly
TikTok
right.
it,
When it comes
happens.
to performing in shows, you're there not to crash. You're there to perform and do your best. Behind the scenes, everyone crashes. Like you're gonna crash learning. I feel as if you don't crash, you're not trying hard enough. That was my dad's theory anyway.
Have you had a crash at an event?
Yeah. So when I did my FEMA, that was at a contest
Okay.
in Las Vegas. I was live on TV.
Oh wow.
My tib and fib was in the show. Last jump of the show, I was in a train where there's like 12 bikes. I was like fourth in the train, so we're like right behind each other, and people just dodged and weaved me, only just missed me. Madrid, Spain, the big one. That was
at an event as well.
Yeah, that was like in Plaza de Torres, a bullfighting ring, right in Madrid. It's a beautiful arena. I was live on TV worldwide. A lot of the crashes have been, I'd say 50-50, a lot of practice and a lot of are in shows, but a few of those have been from bike malfunction.
Because I saw that crash. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
It's it gave me flashbacks to my little trampoline.
Exactly.
thing. I
There
was
you go.
like, oh no, my neck is tingling.
Yeah.
You cannot compare the two.
I can't, but it brought me flashbacks.
I can only imagine. I've seen YouTube people trying backflips on trampolines, and they think they know what they're doing, but they have no idea, and their neck just bends. And it's like, oh,
really bad.
I'd never be able to do it. Just
Don't do it.
For me, the thought would be, okay, if I missed the trampoline altogether,
yeah, exactly.
if
That
you
could
either
happen.
you can hit the frame of the trampoline,
that
which
could
would
happen.
crack something really badly, or you just fall off the whole damn thing.
Yeah,
And
that could happen.
it's too bloody scary.
Well, we could do something very cool here. We could be like, come down to my house and I'll teach you how to backflip properly.
I'd rather just watch
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and your
It's fun
son go
watching
to
you do
town.
I've got a trampoline. It's in the ground. It's got padding around it. It's perfect.
The funny thing is, in our line of work, you talk about insurance, right? So people who have life insurance, disability insurance, all that stuff. When we saw your profile come up, you're going to be a guest. That's the first thing that crossed my mind. I'm like, this guy is uninsurable.
Yeah.
You could
Oh, yeah,
not,
no shit.
because you go through an insurance questionnaire, and all the questions are about,
I
okay,
know.
do you have this activity, this
I know.
thing? That?
Do you know how hard it was to find insurance? And once it's through a company, it's IHI insurance. It's an international health insurance, and it's through in Denmark.
It's probably getting scammed at this point.
No, that's all us extreme action sports athletes. A lot of us use that company.
Very expensive then, huh?
No, it would be.
I think Bupa have a high risk insurance as well. It's called high risk insurance. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
It's
beyond high
expensive.
risk at this point.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So other than all these motorbike stunts and whatnot, is there another adrenaline thing that you love doing? Jumping off a plane? Do you
All
like
sorts,
to
yeah.
bungee jump?
I love all that kind of stuff. Yeah, bungee jumping,
you've done all
skydiving.
that?
Yeah, I love all that stuff. Still do. Like, if it's safe, it's still, you know, a lot of people back out where they think they're going to get hurt. But if it's safe, jumping out of a plane safe with a parachute, you know, bungee jumping safe if you do it for a company with the, you know, so nothing really scares me. Jumping off a building, obviously that's scary because you're gonna die. You know? Yeah. But when there's nothing really that scares me because you know it's safe. In the back of your mind, it is safe. So yeah.
I think your definition of safe versus
Yeah, it's
most
very different.
normal people is a bit off, mate.
This is safe. This is safe.
Like he's got a massive heights phobia.
Oh,
I
really?
hate heights.
How do you work here?
He doesn't look out the
Took
window.
a long time to get used to. Like even planes.
Your desk is like over there.
It's just
Yeah, he's not good with
away from
planes
the
either.
window.
Yeah.
Like I used to hate airplanes.
Really?
We're going on airplanes. That I got used to it because we travel so much.
Yeah.
Now. This is like a normal
that's
day
right.
now.
Planes, water as well. Try taking him out for fishing.
Really?
To
Oh,
the
he's-
ocean.
Yeah,
I
right.
can't do it. But it all comes from trauma though. Like I almost drowned in the ocean once.
Yeah, right.
I'm never going in the ocean ever again.
Mm.
So like mine's all like
Yeah.
my plane phobia didn't come from a plane crash, but like it's just like why is this flying? Like why is that
Yeah.
even happening?
You know, I figured it with him, and I think other people like that as well. If you obsess too much over something, it becomes a phobia. He obsesses over planes. If we're on a
Yeah.
flight together, he'll be like, oh, he'll know exactly which plane we're going in, how old the
Yeah,
plane
there you go,
is.
too
I was
much.
like, why do you concern
The
yourself
older
with
the
this?
plane, the bigger the chance of
That's
death.
what I'm saying. So you're mentally like you're petrified of it before you even walk in.
Exactly right. Exactly, you are right. It's so correct. That's what I mean. Like I've noticed that with my thing. Like, you know, think about it too much, you get overwhelmed, and it just starts scaring you. So just maybe I don't know, watch Netflix or something. Or
That's what
when
I
you're on the way to the airport, just think of something different. I don't know.
The night before, I usually watch Air Crash Investigation.
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's where
That's
you
what
go
I
wrong.
usually do. Air Crash Investigation. I'm like, I just ruined my sleep, ruined my whole
He's a
trip.
sucker for pain. He always, we go on so many flights together. He's going in petrified.
Not
I'm like,
anymore though.
yeah, he's gotten over it.
Took
now.
a while.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Took a
but
while.
He's like,
What about when you're going like on lifts?
That used to be when I was a kid. I'm gonna get stuck on it, but now it's okay.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these phobias are
Yeah.
you're getting past it.
No, my attitude's always been sort of control the controllables, man.
Yeah,
like
that's
I
it.
can't control what's gonna happen on this flight.
Yeah.
Get on the flight,
Exactly right.
zone out, whatever's gonna
Exactly
happen.
right.
I
Yeah.
think even from your perspective, like you prepare, you train, you
Mm.
do everything that you know. You've tested your bike, you've serviced, everything's
Yeah.
on point. If it malfunctions in the middle of the air, well,
Exactly right.
it wasn't meant to be
Exactly
this way,
right.
but it happened.
That's
What am I
exactly
gonna do?
right. That's exactly right. That's why I put mine to it these days, especially, you know, I've had a lot of, with my sport, a lot of friends have passed away, you know, like close friends too.
Yeah.
And even recently, one of my closest friends just passed back, it was in February this year. And that was with the triple backflip. And that was because of bike malfunction, you know. He proved that trick, he had that trick on lock, he landed it here in Australia, up in Brisbane. And me and his mother and stuff, we weren't that worried about him anymore, was he figured out a way. It took him years to figure out how to do the triple backflip. Figured it out the hard way. A lot of concussions. He broke his femur trying. A lot of bike broken and stuff like that. Then he got to a point where I feel as if we were pretty confident with him. Had the right ramp, had the bike figured out. But then one day, he's part of his bike broke and just, sent him sideways in the air and then missed the practice, the landing pad.
Oof.
So it's a big shock to the system, especially when it was so unexpected. What you were talking about, you know, when it's out of your hands, it's you can't do anything about it. So it's hard. But yeah,
No, I'm assuming ever since having kids and family, you've took a step back. Is that what's
definitely,
happening?
100%. Yeah, like I still do the basics. I still love riding. I did a show. I've done since Jay's passing. I've done a couple of shows, and I turned 40 in April. And it was a goal of mine to be able to, if I can do a backflip when I'm 40, it'd be pretty cool. I had a show just here at the Melbourne Showgrounds, and I was like, oh, I'm 40, I'm going for a backflip. This is happening. And it was like nothing, you know. It was fine. It was. But I also want to keep doing what I'm doing. Just some shows, just Australia-wide. I went to Abu Dhabi last year. That was a pretty cool show. I didn't think I was going to have to travel anymore, but the show popped up to go over there. So it was
The
fun.
Arabs on it too now. Huh? These guys are getting everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a World Supercross, and we did a bit of a freestyle show at halftime. But I went over there last year. But no, this year I got a couple more shows lined up here, just in Australia. Nothing planned for overseas as yet, but Nitro Circus coming back to Australia next year. So at that stage, I'll be doing that. And yeah, just
Part of the nitro suit.
yeah,
Mm,
we'll be
right.
performing at Rod Laver again, Rod Laver Arena. Just take it easy and have fun and have some fun with the kids and watch them grow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Is there a stunt that you really want to pull off, or have you done it all?
Not anymore. If there was a stunt that I wanted to pull off, I'd do it, but I don't really want to. Because I was driving here on the way here. Like I said, I'm off to America on Wednesday for X Games, and I'm a judge over there. So, and I was just thinking to myself, like, to compete, I'm like, no, I'm not even keen. You know, I don't want to win anymore. I feel like I've done that.
Mm.
And a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do when I was younger, I made sure I did it. And no matter how hard it was and how dangerous it was, I'd still made an effort and somehow pulled it off. You know, there's one trick on Nitro Circus is pretty cool. We get volunteers out of the crowd.
Oh no.
And we'd, so the first, this would have been 10 years ago. Start off with a 3-person backflip. So it was me plus 2 people out of the crowd. Put them on the bike, do a backflip. And then a couple of years after that, we did that all around the world. And then the promoters like, we need to change it. We need to make it bigger and better. So we did a 4-person backflip.
Oh,
2 in front of me, 1 guy behind me. Did that for a couple of years. And we had lots of crashes and lots of fun. No serious injuries. Then the promoter again, we're going to go bigger. So we ended up doing a 5-person backflip. And that was like, got to a point where it wasn't even that fun.
Where's the space on the bike? How do you
Oh,
feel
we
this?
had to find smaller people. So I had my friend who sits on the back because I had to trust someone who could sit on the back. He was on the back, held my waist. So I had to find 3 other people that were small enough to fit in front of me, me and the handlebar. So I was like holding on that, and they're just like 3 people in front.
Jeez.
And we did that, but it got to a point where it wasn't that fun. It was just
Were they
not normal.
genuinely like randoms, or were they like scripted to go onto it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
we're
We'd have to find a way
going to
with you,
tour
man.
next year, so if anyone's listening, make sure you come volunteer.
But we go to Indonesia a lot, right? You got a whole family on a motorbike. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
part of
exactly.
life
But they're
these
small
days.
Yeah.
people. They're all very small.
That's
Sixty
right. So we
people on
did
the bike.
2-person backflips, so 3-person, 4-person, and 5-person. So that there was a pretty cool part in my career. You know, just overcoming something that you would think that's impossible,
Yeah.
make it possible.
Yeah.
But now, we just so next year we'll be doing the 3-person backflip, to scale it back down to the fun and easier kind of stunt. Basic freestyle tricks, no double backflips anymore. Promised my wife that after we had my first child. But then again, saying that, I would like to do one in my 40s. Been thinking about it a bit lately. But we'll see.
You know, you mentioned about the X Games judging and all that type of
Yeah.
stuff. How do you go about judging these particular things? Is it based on just form, or is it
The
how does it all
landing
work?
maybe?
Bit of everything, that's a bit of everything. Bit of form, landing, the difficulty obviously is the biggest part.
Yeah.
Like if you put it into say 4 categories, it'd be difficulty, and then it'd be your technique. You know, like your position, your body positioning. It'd be like how good you land it. If you land in the sweet spot, if you go too long or you go too short, and then you got your the way the crowd reaction. You know, so you got like 4 categories, I guess. But the main one is obviously the difficulty factor. If you're doing something that's crazy, unknown, and you land that, if you land it dodgy and almost crash, if you still land it, you're probably still going to win because it's
Yeah.
crazy. But when it comes to the nitty-pitty, the real picky kind of, if there's 5 riders that do the same trick, then you got to start picking out the style and and if you land it smoothly and how the crowd reacted. That's how you sort of judge those things.
How do you judge the crowd reaction? Like the louder it is?
Yeah, I
the
guess
cheer.
you play with the crowd. You ride around and you rev your bike and you get off the bike, you dance, you do a handstand, you do whatever you want. As long as you get the crowd, you could land this cool trick and just like ride off and sit down in your chair, and not make a big scene out of it. Or you could land the same trick and you could work with the crowd. It's like a performer. It's like performing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So you're a gold medalist at the X Games.
Yeah.
So what sort of dance did you do after landing?
Man, that was no, I rode up to the landing and that was like I didn't really in my mind I felt like there was no crowd there. Like one job to do, blanked everything out. Even when I landed it, I was just like, it was such a crazy feeling because I was exactly 12 months after that crash in Madrid in Spain, where the doctor said I'll never ride again. That I learned how to walk and talk and all the basics and stuff. But no, one thing the only one thing on my mind was to go back to X Games and just to compete. You know, my goal wasn't to win. My goal was just to compete. After what happened 12 months before, would have been cool to get a medal. You know, being a kid from Australia, your goal was to win X Games medal. And then the fact to have won the gold medal at my first X Games was pretty cool.
So what stunt did you do to win it?
The double backflip.
Double backflip.
Yeah. And the year after that, I did the double backflip variation where you do a trick as well with the double backflip. And the year after that, so 2012, I wasn't going to ride. I promised my wife that I would stop doing double backflips, but I got an invite and went over there and just did the double backflip again and got third. So
Just because you could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, can you you have a lot of experience. So can you like just get a bike now and just do the double backflip? Just do you still need to prepare?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
I haven't done one in. The last time I landed one was at X Games in 2012, but I've done some in the foam pit.
Right.
So the foam pit is it's like basically a tennis court, basically.
Yeah.
Full of foam,
Okay.
like foam blocks,
Oh yeah.
and that's
yeah,
where
yeah.
you
land on the foam.
that's where you practice your tricks. Like,
Yeah.
so we'll go back to 20 years ago when I said we get hay bales and make the landing soft. Now these days you got a foam pit where you can practice everything. So you can jump off the bike and land. You can land on your head with the bike on top of you, and you got a crane, hook a chain around it and pulls you out. Do it again.
Yeah.
So the hours I've spent in the foam pits is ridiculous, and that's been a game changer in our sport.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds so fun though.
Yeah, landing in a pit.
There we go. We'll set the trampoline up next to the foam pit.
Go there, bounce out again.
So you get snakes in there?
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, there's a snake in. Yeah, I haven't seen him yet, but where the foam pit is, there's apparently a snake there. They love foam for some reason because of the temperature. There's so much heat.
It's heat, it's warm. Yeah. You know, of all the extreme sports out there, other than obviously your category, who else do you rate? Is there another one that you say, look, you know what, those guys, they have my respect for what they do?
Yeah, I think BMX guys are pretty. It's very technical,
Okay.
and what they're doing these days is dangerous too. You know, BMX has always been a pretty cool thing. I've always been a fan of BMX, but then you go to the different category. You know, the snow. The guys in the snow.
I was going to ask about the snow. Yeah.
They're crazy. Like the snowboard quarter pipe and big air, they go huge.
Yeah.
And then also, like, thinking about that, like, even like downhill mountain bike, that's crazy.
When you watch that, like you see it on YouTube, the footage, so people with the GoPro on, they're cycling down, like, oh my, that's freaky, man. Because you're seeing what you're about to hit.
Like I said, snowboarding's crazy, and then you think summer. So winter you go snowboarding, summer you go downhill mountain biking. So they use the same course, like during snowy season in Mount Buller, it's cool for snowboarding. Buller in summertime, it's great for downhill mountain biking. And downhill mountain bikes, they're mind blowing. The stuff they do. They got no padding, like there's wear shoes and t-shirt and a helmet, and do yourself a favour and look up downhill mountain biking one day.
Yeah,
on TikTok,
crashing.
chucking the GoPro, it's just so fast.
And when they crash, they crash.
Like this
Yeah.
wide.
I know.
And you hit something crazy. And
Yeah.
So much respect for those guys. Yeah,
Have you ever tried anything like that?
yeah. I got a bike, but nothing like they do. But
Yeah.
summertime's been it's cool. Like I live down the peninsula, so Red Hill, there's a cool little track there. We got to Bright, the high country. We go there over Christmas and we ride mountain bikes every day. But yeah, nothing like those guys. To be the best, it's like I said, to be the best in extreme sports, you got to risk your life. Not for me anymore.
And something tells me that you are sponsored by Boost Mobile.
Yeah.
Something is giving something giving it away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I picked up a Boost deal last year. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that helps out. Boost and Fox and got a fair few sponsors that help still today. Peter Stevens, they supply the motorcycles, and Fox give me all the gear. Boost with the phones, and kids with the iPads, they look after them.
Because I was gonna ask, my lead-up question to that is, a lot of youngsters these days want to go into sport for the money.
Yeah.
Right? People want to become soccer players, footy players, NFL players, tennis players, what are the cases, right? Races and whatnot. Do you think that what you do has enough money to please the modern society? Because everyone's after like millions and millions and millions.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? I'm not
Is there
sure.
that sort of money in this sport?
Oh, like the freestyle extreme sports, depends what category. I think moto is probably the least, lowest kind of income. Where skateboarding, BMX is, or even skateboarding. Skateboarding's huge
Okay.
because you can go to Kmart and buy a skateboard for $40 and you can go practice outside the street, you know. To get in the motorbikes, 10 grand later, you know, gear and a bike, and to go riding, you have to load your car up and go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think skateboarding is so much more popular and a lot easier to get into. So there's more money in that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I feel as if, like for my son, I'd like to get him to, like he loves football. He's plays under 8s and
AFL?
yeah, AFL, yeah. So I'd love for him to, you know, see how that goes. But there's with AFL, it's hard because there's like millions of people that want to be the best. Where action sports is probably 10,000, you know.
But in action sports, you're up against the world, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas in AFL, it's a domestic
Pretty much
competition.
Victoria only.
Yeah, Victoria only, really.
Pretty much, So you'd think, you'd say that this is more like a passion.
a paid hobby.
Yeah, paid hobby.
hobby.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking
Exactly.
at it.
That's why I
hobby.
put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I'd go on tour and stuff, I wasn't going to work. I was going to ride my bike and have fun with my mates. And to get paid out of it was a bonus. It's pretty cool. I was very lucky.
Paid hobby. Muzza, what's your hobby?
Nothing that cool.
What's yours?
I don't think
Trampolining?
It's very. No, I haven't gone on trampoline since then. Honestly, I get traumatized so easy. It's crazy. But when I think about paid hobbies for myself, what is it, man?
This would be a hobby for you guys, wouldn't it? Like a podcast? It's like a hobby?
Podcast. Yeah, podcast is fun.
Consider
Yeah.
this a hobby.
That's it.
In a way.
You meet a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
Hey, so you like being, especially you guys sitting there, you'd get to interview a lot of.
Yeah, like everyone
Different.
has a very interesting story. Everyone has a different mindset, and like we spoke to a lot of athletes, right? And they all always mention mindset. Like every athlete that we interviewed, it's always mindset. And they always have the same thing. What you were saying is just block everything off.
Yeah.
Like boxers, UFC fighters, like block everything off, and you got one mission. And you guys have mastered the art of just blocking everything off.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? A normal person just overthinks everything. Like we're normal people. Like we're not trained athletes. We're just fucking couch potatoes at this point, right? And can you break down like how you've trained yourself to just block everything off when you're gonna go into stunt mode? I guess
I'm not sure. I guess I was like, there's no way of training it. It's just like I said before, when you got your helmet on and there's 20,000 people inside the stadium that come to see you do this trick. There's no backing out. You could imagine the MC saying, "Sorry guys, Cam is
pulled out.
shit himself. He's going home.
He's having a panic attack.
You can't do that. So you
fans
cannot do
are
that. Yeah. But
This
you
is
can't.
tough.
I know, like all along, I just knew that there's no way out. The only way is that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just got to, once you get that past and you do that over and over again, it becomes pretty normal.
Yeah.
I think to Ali's point as well, you see this theme a lot with athletes where it's this almost an obsession that they have. They're so fixated on saying, look, I am going to conquer this thing.
Yep.
And I don't care what comes in my way. I'm just going to get there at the end. And it could be physical, it could be family, it could be financial. It's all worth it if I get to that end point.
That's exactly right.
And I think a lot of people, the naysayers always in your head telling you, well, what if you don't? Then all this was for nothing.
Yeah.
But your attitude is superb because you're like, well, I had fun along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if I didn't become the X Games gold medalist, the places I went to, the friendships I had, the experiences, the stories I can tell, that's priceless.
Oh, for sure.
And that's the right attitude to have. A lot of people, even in business, they're like, oh, well, there's no guarantee of success. I may not become a multi-millionaire out of my business, but hey, look, you know what? At least you tried it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you'll look back on life and say, I gave this a good hard crack. I gave it my all. I put everything into it. And if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be.
Yep.
But I won't sort of die wondering. so to
Yeah,
speak.
exactly right. Yeah, that was my theory. You know, have fun or die trying.
Because I got another story before we start closing things off. So I actually do taekwondo when I was younger. So I got my black belt over there, right?
Yep.
And before a tournament, I used to get a lot of stress, like crazy stress. Like there was a particular tournament where I was leading up to the last fight for the first place, and I started crying from stress. Like the stress was too much because I was favourite to win that.
Yeah, right.
Like the other guy that went in somehow fluked his way in. Like he wasn't even favourite. Like I was the favourite to win it. And my mind just played so much games. I broke down, started crying. The stress was getting to me, and I ended up losing that fight.
Yeah, right.
And everyone's like, "How'd you lose? Like this kid was a dud. Like they still don't know. Actually, sorry, the way he went in was the 2 fights he had prior forfeited.
Yeah, right.
I was battle ready, right? He wasn't. He was just coming off just drinking Coke and eating potato chips. So I was like hardened to win it.
Yeah.
And the mind could literally screw you over. It's crazy
Exactly
how strong
right.
the mind is.
Mm.
And talking to you for the last 1 hour, like what I've gathered from you is just like, I'm going for it, man.
Yeah.
Like nothing is stopping me.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
that's so impressive. I haven't seen that from anyone else that I've interviewed.
Yeah, right.
It's like you've got so many injuries, risking life, near-death scenarios, and you just keep going and going, and like chicken shit like me sometimes just will pull out of it. And I think extremely impressive.
Thank you, yeah.
Extremely impressive.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the way I was brought up. My dad, my grandpa, they had that. You know, we grew up riding dirt bikes and BMXing and water sports, and so I guess that's the way I was raised. So for me, it's just normal for me, I guess.
It's the way you were raised, but is it also the way you're going to parent your kids as well?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that really sort of toughen it up.
Yeah.
You know, if you fall down, get back up, brush yourself off, do it again.
Yeah.
That sort of tough love kind of thing.
It was pretty funny though when you said to me about me blocking stuff out, and then it's so funny with my wife this morning getting my kids ready for school. Right, my son's just been a menace, and I'm just like, here, same thing. I can just shut things off. I can shut the fear off. I can shut my 7-year-old son off. My wife just comes out. How can he handle this? Like, how I'm just like, just block it out.
Yeah.
If he's not listening, he's being a little shit. Just block it out.
Mm.
And that maybe just remind me then. I used to be able to do that with 20,000 people and this crazy stunt that could kill me. I used to be able to block that out, and now I still do that now with my son, with my 7-year-old son, not the dirt bike.
Yeah, that's a talent. That is a talent in
Yeah.
itself.
No,
That should be a sport.
Also, the only funny thing, I was just thinking about that only a couple of hours ago. I was like, I felt like tell my wife, just block it out. And then you just remind me of that. That's how I used to be when I was.
Well, kids are good like that because they know how to get to you.
Yeah, it's
And
all
if
right.
you show them that they've gotten to you, they're like, yes, we won.
Exactly. Now you just got to block them
Me
out.
1, mum 0.
That's right.
Do you guys get like boos or anything while you guys are performing? Like, does anyone boo you guys?
Nah.
Like, no, like you've never heard a boo. Like, I'm trying to
Shit,
imagine.
no.
Like, would there be a scenario
No, because
where you get a
there's
boo?
we're not competing against each other, I guess. Actually, that's a good line. I didn't get booed. So I was in Fort Worth, Texas, at the Rebel X Fighters. That's when I did the first double backflip in the competition, and I broke my ankle as I landed real heavily, and I ended up getting third.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got the guy who got second got booed.
Oh wow! Boy, he wasn't. Was he shit?
Just I'm not sure. No, he wasn't. She was very good. Like, he won the World Series the year before, but just the fact that I was the first guy to do the double backflip, and I had a broken ankle, and I should have got. If I didn't break my ankle, I should have won it.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting third. But then the guy who got second got booed.
Like on stage?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yep.
Poor guy, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you won all the sympathy votes as well, man.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
Better performance. Poor guy injured himself to entertain us. So
Cam was probably like, boo, boo. just stirring the shit.
Either way, I probably wouldn't even matter. I've gone to the next round. Was just like a knockout round.
yeah.
So I won the first round, and that's why I hurt my ankle the first round, and then moved on to the next round, and then hurt my other ankle, and then I wouldn't have been able to go into the next round anyway because my ankles were
Yeah, that's true.
black and blue.
And I love how casual you are when you explain you broke a bone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I broke my bone and then I broke the other bone.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, dude, what?
I know. I was but still young and adrenaline pumping, and it was my first real big event. The Red Bull X Fighters was like the biggest series. I looked up to that. It was a goal of mine to compete in that, and this is my first one. And so when I got third, I was pretty happy with third still, even though I went home with 2 busted ankles.
Are you like covered in metal at this point?
Plates everywhere.
Yeah, for my heel, I shattered my heel. I'll show you some photos later. It's pretty scary, but it's got plates and screws, tib, fib, femur, collarbone.
Oh my
You
god.
sort of see the collarbone there. That's what you can see.
Oh
Ooh.
god, no.
Eesh.
That's crazy.
And screws. Lacerated my liver. Had to go for my groin and tie it back together with this net.
What?
That was in Madrid, Spain. So,
Fishing net or like
It's a medical net, mate. Not even
and a lot of other
crazy.
broken bones and a lot of concussions. But
So
yeah.
when you walk through the airport, every metal just picks you up. Beep, beep, beep,
Well,
beep.
I thought that, but because it's all titanium.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
true.
the new age airports are fine, but if you go to like a smaller airport in say Indonesia, it'd be like, beep, beep, beep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The mindset's just crazy, man.
Far
But do you have anything else to say, Muzza?
No, man.
Cam,
Really awesome
thank you
chat.
so much for coming.
Yeah.
on.
No
Like,
worries,
this
thanks for
has
having
been
me.
so different
Yeah.
to what
That's
we're
right,
used
it's
to.
good.
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
The man is just covered in like broken bones. That's crazy. But
He's a Terminator, mate. He's
Yeah, man. That guy just keeps. That's a
Wolverine.
very good point. Like the
Adamantium.
Terminator.
As bad as it is, like I said, mate, I had no fear, and the only thing that was going to stop me was for me to be just to be killed, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think death is scared of you at this point. Just
it's a crazy mindset, mate. Seriously,
Yeah.
that's powerful
yeah,
stuff.
it's powerful.
That's
The
right.
mindset's very impressive.
You should look at mindset coaching and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Like in
right.
corporate environments,
Yeah,
trust
yeah.
me, people today are piss weak, man.
People
Yeah.
pay a lot of money
Yeah,
for it.
You need to get in and get people to man up a little bit.
Yeah, that's it.
Seriously, you should.
That's it. I'll meet you guys at my house for the trampoline session.
Just the beginner level. Just,
Teach you how to do a backflip.
honestly, I'd love to learn it. Get revenge.
Yeah.
I gotta get revenge on that shocking thing. But Cam, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No
I
worries,
really
guys.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And we wish you the best on the X Games. Hopefully,
thank you.
Hopefully, you know. Are they just like? Do judges get like money on the tables?
Yeah,
or
because,
like,
so the funny thing is like there's like 5 Australians in the
Oh, wow.
in the contest, and all my friends. Someone's like,
oh,
Always a bit of bias there.
nah, yeah,
that's crazy stuff.
nah,
But
nah,
yeah, we
I'm
wish you the
fair.
best, man. Honestly,
No, thank
just
you.
keep going, keep going. I'd love to watch you one day.
yeah, for sure. Maybe we
Um,
can keep in contact.
Yeah,
and
man.
when Nitro Circus comes to Melbourne, I'll
Yeah.
get some
I
tickets for you
really want
guys.
to watch it. I really
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to see you now.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Just cheer you on, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
for
that
sure.
man is covered. He's a medal. He's a medal, and he's doing a stunt. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
No worries, guys.
And thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys give us a like, subscribe, give us a review. It means the world to us. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.